Like any other software, ZBrush also let you undo or redo. However, it's a bit different in ZBrush. The most part, it's quite same as other software. But let's see one thing here. If I will just go to my brush and start painting over here, by the way, to resize your brush, you can press left square bracket and right square bracket as well. So it will change the size of your brush. So now if I will start painting over here, just notice it creates an extra notch on the top whenever you do something. Okay, like suppose if I do something over here on his face, so extra notch is being created over there. Now what is this extra notch basically? This is the history. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means I have gone through 4 steps ahead. So I have this 4 steps here and I can go back to each step to go back to my history. So I can redo or I can undo. So this is how you can go back and forth. Or just like any other software, you can press Ctrl Z to undo over here. Okay. So this is how it actually works inside your ZBrush. And if you want to redo, you can press Ctrl Shift and Z to redo whatever you want to redo. So Ctrl Z to undo, Ctrl Shift Z to redo. So this is how pretty much it works inside ZBrush when you are doing the undo. Now one thing you have to see over here, if I will go to my subtool option here and go to the eyes, you will see the notch is not there. If I go back to the demo head, you will see the notch is there. Okay, I have 4 undo levels over here, but if I go to eyes, I don't see. The reason is that every subtool has its own undo history. If I will go to the eyes, okay, and let me unhide this one. You can go to any of the subtool and hide the one that you don't want to see. And if you would do some changes here, just like what I'm doing here, and you can see that there are new notches and new histories being created. Now if I will unhide this, you can see that there is a different like a weird looking change I have done here. Now I have a lot of different steps that says 9 out of 8. If I will go 6 out of 8 10, so it will show me that 9 of 10, sorry, not 8 out of 10, and I can go back and keep on undoing that. So every layer over here has its own undo thing here. Okay, now if I press Alt on my keyboard and click on any of the subtools, you can see that the layer jumps to that. Okay, if I want to go to the eye, so I will press Alt on my keyboard and click on the eye, so it will go to the eye subtool. If I want to go back to my demo head, I will press Alt and click on the demo head, it will go back to the demo head. Now one thing is that suppose if I will go to the eyes and then I will press delete button over here, so it will say this is an undoable operation. Means like if you will delete by pressing OK, you cannot bring it back, it's gone. And if you save your file after doing that, then it is permanently gone. Okay, so that's why it gives you this option, but make sure you don't press this. What this will do is that it will say always OK, skip this note until the next restart. So by mistake, if I will delete something, it will delete it without giving me any warning. So I usually don't press this one. I press cancel, or if I'm okay with it, I will press OK. So now I hope you have understood about the undo and some restrictions over here. Just like if you're deleting anything, that is not undoable. So this is how you undo and redo inside the ZBrush. Now let's see how we can work with the cameras inside the ZBrush. Usually in ZBrush we use the cameras for adjusting the camera or mapping the camera, matching the camera with our maps if we are tracing. If we are tracing some maps and we want to match our ZBrush camera to that image which we are tracing. Okay, so for that purposes mainly the camera settings are used here. So to adjust the camera, you can go to the draw option on the top here, and then you will see here there is a camera here. There is two different kind of cameras, like we have horizontal cameras and we have vertical camera, but usually we use here the horizontal camera. Now uh, if it is on, we are working with an advanced camera, and if it is off, then we are pretty much working with the basic camera setting. So I usually keep it on so I can work on these all advanced setting here. So I can change my focal distance, I can change my field of view, I can change my crop factor. Also, I can lock the camera if I don't want to move it around or those kind of things if I want to do. So first of all, we have here the focal length. So right now by default it is 50. If I will press 35, you can see the focal length is changing over here as well. Okay, so if I will go to 18, you can see it is quite distorted. So I would like to rather keep it 35 or 50. Usually I keep it at 50, which is okay for many of the projects. Now here I have field of view. Okay, and these of field of view is relatively work with the focal length. So if I increase or decrease, you can see it is also increasing and decreasing my focal length. So they both work together. So I will keep it as this the 50. Now crop factor, what it do is that it crops my field of view over here. So that's why I don't want to keep it higher. I want to keep it lower so I have more control over here. Okay. Now camera has its own undo and redo. You can see that I can do 14 times undo here, and you can see that whatever changes I have done so far, it will be doing that. Also, it includes the changing of the angles of the camera. For example, I just moved this and this is not I wanted. Okay, and I want to go back to my previous view. So what I can do here is that I can go back to my draw over here and start undoing that. So it will bring back to my actual view which I was looking for. Okay, and then apart from that, we have one more option here uh, which can store our camera view. Okay, to store the camera view, we have to go to the store option. Okay, I think it is somewhere down here. Yeah, store cam. Okay, suppose I like this view. Maybe let me make a very nice view, quarter view over here. I like this view, and I will call this one you can say quarter view. So I can go here in the draw, go down here, and I will press on the store cam over here, and I will call this one quarter view. And then I will make another one here. Okay, suppose something like this. And I will call it low angle, for example. So I will go to the draw here, again, store cam, and I will like right here, low angle. Now I have here low angle, okay, and I have here the uh basically the quarter view. So I can, if I will press here low angle, it will show me all my views. I can go back to my quarter view, or I can go back, I can click here to go back to the low angle, or I can click here for next and the previous one. I can add as many I want. I can rename them, I can delete them. So suppose I want to delete all of them, I don't want it, so I can press this delete, or if I want to delete all of them, I can delete all of them. Okay, so this is how you can also store your camera views. Now if view is changed, then to switch back to any view you want, you can go back to draw and you will find a list of these uh, camera views over here that you have just created. Okay, And also you can rename as you have, as I have told you. One important thing here is about the camera locking. Suppose I want to do some change in here at this edge. So while I'm doing some changing here, okay, I can do, but if I want to go to the corner, like, exactly over here to this part, and I want to apply any change. So if I will click here, so you will see that it's not allowing me. What it do is that it might not, it will, move my object. It's really hard to apply changes on the corner, on the edges. Okay, so it by mistake, if I press a little bit outside, it will move it. But if I will lock my camera and then I will try to move, it will not move. And easily now I can go to these edges and I can change to whatever changes I want, and it will avoid the camera to move actually. So this is how the lock camera will help you. So this is how you can lock the camera if you want. But I don't want to lock it right now. But as you know, so locking camera will easily help you to create these kind of, avoid these kind of errors. So I hope you have understood about the cameras. Now let's see how we can import some tools or some other objects inside a ZBrush. So when you import a non-ZBrush format model, suppose if it is a OBJ file, FBX file, it will replace the selected ZBrush subtool layer. Suppose I have this demo head over here, and if I want to import any other file, it will replace this. So you must duplicate the layer and then import the model. But if you're okay with replacing, if you're okay with the ZBrush by replacing this, so it's fine. You don't have to duplicate. But if you don't want this subtool to be replaced, so you just have to press duplicate. And suppose this is demo one head is here, which is the duplicated one. So I want this one on the top. So simply I can just click on it and drag it on the top, and it will be on the top. So now I can go to my load tool to bring any ZBrush tool file. But if I want to bring a non-ZBrush file, suppose an OBJ file, then I have to go to import, and then you can see these are the file formats it can import: OBJ or Maya file, or FBX file, STL file. Suppose if I want to bring some Maya file, let me find some folders over here where I can see some Maya file here. So I can go to my folder here to check if I have some Maya file here. So I don't think here in this folder I have something here, but let me check. Maybe I have something here. Yeah, I can see something here in Maya, but it's not showing me. Or let me find some OBJ files somewhere. So I found this file over here, which is like a helmet file. So I have STL, I have OBJ, I have FBX. So I can select any one of these. And suppose if I have this one, I will press this open. Okay. So it will ask me, do you want a color or something, whatever. So I just press OK here. And STL file is file read in successfully. So now if I will zoom out, okay, so you can see the file over here is already uploaded. Okay, if I'll zoom out, so you can see that it is, oops, it's here. Okay, now what else I can do with this file is that I can go to my Gizmo here, So first of all, I have to make sure this is selected in the gizmo, and I can move the gizmo in the center of this one. Okay, actually it is moving the center of this. So what I have to do, I have to press Alt key and then move this one. And then I can move it wherever I want this object. Okay, so exactly the same place if you want to move it. This is how you can move with the help of the gizmo. Okay, and if you think this is too big, you can reduce the size of it as well. And then I can go back to my drawing mode. If I don't want to hide these, I can hide it, and you can have your 3D model over here. So this is how you can bring external files inside the ZBrush. This is how you can import, or you can load files here, and you can make duplicate files, drag the layers if you want to drag the layers. So this is how pretty much it works when you want to import any file inside the ZBrush. Thanks a lot everyone for joining my course and following up with me. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, so please subscribe to my channel. Also click on the bell icon so you can get the daily notifications. And I will really appreciate if you will watch all my videos online without downloading them, because I need all those watch time hours. Please just support me. Keep on sharing my videos with your friends. Ask them also to subscribe, because I will be coming up with a lot of new great tutorials and full courses. Also, don't forget to watch my online live streams and watch the introductory video of the live stream. You can also click on this icon on the top right corner, where you can find my live stream introductory video, where I have explained about all my schedule that I will be working on my live streams basically. Okay guys, so take care and see you in the next topic or in the next chapter. So by the time, take care and keep subscribing, keep watching, and keep ZBrushing.